They told you quitting sugar was going to be easy, but they lied. They said you just need to take one bite and then just put the rest away. They said just have more willpower or more discipline. They told you to do that whole mindful eating thing or intuitive eating. Oh, yeah, that's going to work. But if that was true, why is it that so many women are struggling with sugar cravings and emotional eating and food binges? Why does so many women they eat healthy all day long, but then 9 o'clock at night it is open season on chocolate and ice cream? Why are so many women just disciplined AF and successful in their careers and their families, but can't eat just one cookie without inhaling the entire sleeve? It's because there are 5 patterns that sabotage you without you even realizing it. I've heard so many women say, maybe it's just me. Maybe this is just how I'm wired. But I'm here to tell you, maybe the problem isn't you. Maybe the system is rigged against you. And I know this because back in the day, I was a sugaraholic. I was completely addicted to the comfort food for 40 years, 40 plus years. And not in the, yeah, yeah, Holly, that's nice, enjoy your treats. No, no, no. Holly plus sugar equals the law of gravity. I mean, it was in my DNA. I didn't just eat sugar. I inhaled it. Or I would hide the little chocolate bars. I would hide them. I ate in secret. And then I'd open up the trash can, I'd pick up the trash on top, I'd hide the wrappers underneath, and then put the trash back so no one would see it. And did I mention that I was a fat health coach doing this? It was so frustrating. It was downright embarrassing. Again, disciplined AF in all of the other areas of my life, but I could not control myself around food, and especially sugar. If it was in front of me, I inhaled it. So I ran every single one of these 5 sabotaging patterns that we're going to talk about today. I learned how to break them, and I learned how to completely break my sugar addiction, which means it doesn't matter how far gone you are, you can do this too. Pattern number 1 is they live in chaos. Here's what I mean. I just had this conversation just the other day with my director of operations about how I'm a divorced empty nester. But there are days that I miss the chaos of going to work and then coming home and having a house full of boys running around and all the boys and all of the noise. I mean, yeah, life was kind of crazy back then, but there was so much love in our house. And I mean, yeah, this part of your life can be chaotic, but that's actually not what I'm referring to here. Because when people think when I say the word consume and people think consume, they think what they eat. They think it's food. But what we consume, it's our thoughts. It's the news, social media, the people we spend our time with. And when our external world is chaos, our internal world is chaos. And for some people, that chaos is even more addictive than the food that they use to numb themselves from the chaos. But people don't make the connection between big C consumption, their inner chaos, and what they eat. When your external world is in chaos, you become even more distracted. You feel like you don't have any kind of control. And food is that one place that brings you that feeling of control or comfort, or even that moment that just everything just seems right in the world when it's otherwise spinning out of control. And I can see these patterns a mile away. When they live in this world of stress and chaos, most people outsource their emotions. They don't change their behavior, and they're just going to pass the blame onto whatever the stress is going on. And then when they pass the blame, well, guess what? Of course, quitting sugar or eating healthy or anything like that, of course it is going to be hard. By the way, if you're getting value out of this video, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up and subscribe button because I've got an episode coming up where we are going to dive deep into the dark psychology of the current events going on in the world and the impact that it has on emotional eating. And I think it's going to be quite eye-opening for you. Pattern number 2, they tell themselves, this is just who I am. All of my life, I called myself a sugaraholic. I called myself a junk foodaholic. I said, this is just who I am. Like I said earlier, sugar plus holly equals the law of gravity. I tried the diets, I tried willpower, I tried discipline, I tried mindful eating, I tried intuitive eating, I tried everything in moderation. Nothing worked. Nothing. If I saw food, if it was in front of me, I ate it. Actually, no, I didn't just eat it. I devoured it. I inhaled it. It was like this obsession just came over me and it was like a tidal wave and I couldn't stop. So if you've tried everything and nothing has worked, I know what it's like to default to this must just be who I am. What I learned is that when you operate from this mentality, and yeah, I am actually going to call it out as a victim mentality. When you operate from this victim mentality, your brain is going to do everything it can to keep you stuck right here because same equals safe. Your brain is actually going to go out of its way to find anything it can to continue to convince you to stay in this familiar identity. Your brain would rather keep you in a familiar hell than allow you to step into an unfamiliar heaven. The actions we do, the thoughts that we think, they are based on what we believe about ourselves. Pattern number 3, they keep repeating the same patterns. Einstein has that famous quote, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. So you know how on the FBI shows and the CSI shows, the shows on TV, and you know how when they're solving a case and they've got that big board and they've got the suspects and the victims and all the known associates and then they've got that red yarn that just kind of ties everything together. That's how my brain works. It has been that way since my entire life. It might sound kind of cool, but I can't turn it off. Well, when I was the chief of staff for FBI counterintelligence, I used this superpower. And now, as an emotional eating profiler and coach, I use the same exact superpower. What is fascinating is that the patterns that we have created, whether they are intentional or unintentional patterns, the patterns that we created, they work either for us or against us. They are either going to sabotage us or they are going to propel us. And most people, they don't understand how these patterns work, how all of these unconnected dots connect back together. And most people have no clue how to actually break this apart. And I'll give you one example of a pattern that I see all of the time in women. She's going to vent about something and she's going to talk about it nonstop. And it's not an excited kind of talk. It's almost like she's talking with this fast and frenetic kind of energy. Like she has a stopwatch on her to get out as many words out of her mouth as quickly as possible. And then she ends the whole venting kind of thing. She ends it with, I'm doing great and I feel really good and I'm in a really good space right now. Honey, you are not okay. We tell people we are fine because we're trying to believe it ourselves. If we say it out loud, it must be true. But who are we really convincing? These women, they talk a really big game. They say all of the right things. They know all of the right answers. But there's this huge mismatch between information and actually the integration. And if they're saying they're doing the work, I have no doubt they're doing the work. But what they're probably doing is they're listening to podcasts, which is great. Awesome. I'm glad you're here. Maybe they're investing in some training courses or maybe they're reading some books. But the difference is that they're consuming all of the information in their head. They're spending all of this time, money, and effort, and it's at an intellectual level. They haven't actually integrated it, they haven't made it a part of who they are. And until it becomes a part of them, it's just surface level information. And then they're going to disguise it as progress. This is the kind of blind spot that I help you break. Patterns are my sweet spot as a coach. This is why my clients invest top dollar in my coaching. It's because I can identify their patterns and I can also see the same patterns in other clients. But I don't just say, oh, hey, client, here are your patterns. No, what I do is I walk my clients through this process so that they can see the patterns for themselves. This is why I've had multiple clients tell me they've made more progress in one 30-minute session with me than years of therapy. It's because I can identify, I know how to laser focus what is sabotaging you, and then I'm going to help you to shine the light on it in a way that you will never go back. Because once that light is shined on it, once you actually shine the light on it, it creates this movement inside of you. It's this conviction. And once you have this conviction, there is nothing that you will do to let yourself go back to the old way. This is when you are so incredibly convicted in who you are. You are so incredibly convicted in your new lifestyle that the only thing you will allow is progress moving forward to achieve results. And it is only a matter of time. Pattern number 4. They're focused on behaviors that don't actually work. This is where the diet culture has its grips on so many women. Because what advice have we heard for decades? It's count your calories, count your points, count your macros, have more discipline, have more willpower, eat everything in moderation, practice mindful eating, practice intuitive eating. Okay, so let me ask you a serious question. How many times in the last, 10 to 20 years have you tried this? And how many times has that advice produced an actual sustainable result? So why do we keep going back to the same advice that doesn't work? We're right back to the Einstein quote about the definition of insanity. If you starve yourself with a sad little salad for lunch, do you think you're going to be more likely or less likely to raid the pantry later in the day? If you eat everything in moderation, does that open the door to eating everything? If you struggle with obsessive food cravings and you try the mindful eating or the intuitive eating, do you think you are more or less likely to take a few bites and then still devour the entire pint of ice cream? If you get a bad night's sleep, if you've had a long, hard day at work, do you think you are more likely or less likely to eat everything in sight at 9 o'clock at night? Chances are the fact that you are watching lists, you're like the women who I coach, and they trend on the side of obsessive food cravings and addiction. And this advice has never worked for them. The diets and the willpower, the moderation, the mindful eating, it all collapses when one little thing in your day goes sideways. When it's, oh, the dog pooped on the carpet, I lost my keys, I forgot my phone, I got in an argument with my spouse. It doesn't take much. And the second that happens, it's like, oh, I'll just start back on Monday. I'll just start again when this work project is over. I'll just start again when life calms down. When has life actually calmed down for you? And chances are you never stop to think about how to build sustainable habits that hold up, even during the most stressful and chaotic days, or when you don't get a good night's sleep, when everyone in the family has the flu, or when you're on vacation. Because that's life. If the focus is going on a diet, if the focus is the diet, if the focus is calorie restriction, it's not going to hold up on a good day. let alone a stressful one. Which brings us to pattern number 5. They focus on what to eat rather than understanding the big picture. A lot of the nutritionists and weight loss coaches focus on the 10%. They focus on the 10%, which is right here. This is, what do I eat? And yes, what you eat, yes, it is important. It's important to properly nourish your body. It's important to fuel your body. It's important to focus on metabolic health and longevity. As a holistic health coach, I believe wholeheartedly in this. But, and I want you to listen to this closely, if you're living in chaos, you've convinced yourself you're addicted to food, you are stuck in the same self-sabotaging patterns, and you are focused on behaviors that don't actually work, how on earth are you going to make the food changes sustainable? The women who don't get it, they chase the diets and they're like, just tell me what to eat. It's not so much that they expect a quick fix, they expect it to be simple and easy. And then when it doesn't work, they believe the system is rigged against them. But the women who do actually make this a part of their lifestyle and a sustainable part of their lifestyle, they are not afraid to approach this from a different perspective. They're not afraid to jump in to get messy. They know the difference between just listening to a podcast for information and what it actually takes to implement and integrate these kind of sustainable changes. And I love working with these kind of women. And as strange as this sounds, I can tell who they are from a mile away. I can tell within seconds if they are going to be the woman who yaps and yaps and yaps and then complains because she is not making any progress, and the women who actually ditch the obsessive cravings and lose weight. I am not here for the yappers and the complainers. But if you want to start making some serious changes, and especially when it comes to quitting sugar, I have a brand new experience that I know you are going to love. If you want to steal the exact 5-step FBI-inspired method that's helped hundreds of women to eliminate cravings and quit sugar without the deprivation and without the willpower, and you want to uncover the dark psychology secret behind how some women can just eat one cookie and effortlessly put the rest away while you're over here inhaling the entire sleeve. If you want this, then I invite you to quit sugar in 5 days. It is just $27 to join and you get lifetime access. I'll leave the link in the show notes. Thanks for joining me. I'm Holly Bertone and this is Weight Loss Forensics.